Eikev, a vort from the Parshah. The following vort is from Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And now, Israel, what does God want of you? Only that you fear God. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov teaches that there are two levels of fearing God. The lower level is the fear of punishment, which most people have. The higher and more exalted level of fear is in loving God so much that one doesn't want to jeopardize. He fears jeopardizing his special relationship and closeness with God by violating his wishes. Rabbi Nachman says that although the second level of fear is preferred, it is mainly the fear of punishment that motivates the average person to curb their craving for sin. One cannot skip steps. One must first be a master over his appetite for sin by utilizing the lower level of fear of punishment before one is able to advance to the higher level of fear. One is not able to come close to God and serve Him without first fearing and respecting Him. Love, although very admirable, is not sufficient by itself. Rabbi Nachman points out that throughout the Bible, the epitome of true worship of God through fear is the woman. It is written, "A woman who fears God indeed shall be praised." Isha yiras Hashem hi tisalal. Proverbs 31:30. The man is not associated with this term in the Bible. This teaches us that when a woman attempts to come close to God using the attribute of fear, she can far surpass any man in this regard. It is therefore important to go to the God-fearing woman to learn this vital lesson on how to find God. One must observe her behavior and glean information about the appropriate and necessary general behavior, nuances, speech patterns, and attitude that one must employ to come close to God through the aspect of fear. In the very well-known and popular Sabbath night song, A Woman of Valor, Eshes Chayil, the lyrics of which are derived from the last chapter of Proverbs, one verse reads, "She has no fear of the snow for for her household. She has no fear of the snow for her household, for her entire household is clothed in scarlet wool." Proverbs 31:21. The Hebrew word for scarlet is shanim. The rabbis tell us that shanim is very close to the word shnayim, which means double or repeated or two. Note that one of the methods of biblical interpretation found in the oral tradition, which was handed down to us from Moses, applied here is the substituting of a word of a verse with another word that is very similar to it. The rabbis say that the word for shnayim, two or repeated, which is substitute the word shanim, scarlet, tells us to examine every word in the Torah where the word employed is repeated or doubled. According to Rashi, the use of this word tells us that if one is particular in fulfilling the commandments that use double expressions in the verse, one will develop a certain daring that influences a person to become an activist in seeking out God and performing good deeds. The word snow in our verse alludes to the punishment in purgatory. A sinner's punishment includes half of the time in purgatory with fire. This is the fire of passion in committing the sin. The other half of the time the sinner is punished with snow or ice for the cold shoulder which he has given God in not seeking to make amends through repentance after the sin. The word woman in our verse is the code word and refers to the God-fearing person. This alludes to the aspect of the God-fearing and cautious person who works hard to avoid spiritual calamity. In other words, our verse can be understood as follows: a God-fearing person who is concerned and actively works to perfect his or her spiritual connection with God by avoiding sin, will have nothing to fear in the final judgment if he or she concentrates on fulfilling those commandments that are introduced through double or repeated words found in the verses of the Torah. Have a great Shabbos.